I'm Beck Batchelor. I work in CIRES Education Outreach, and I'm pretty excited to be part of the CIRES Mentoring Program Committee and delighted to welcome some of our mentors and mentees from last year to speak about their experiences with the program. But I'd like to start off by introducing Janice, by the way, who's our chair of the CIRES Mentoring Program Committee, just to very quickly outline a little bit about the program before we invite our speakers to share their experience.
Thanks, Beck. So welcome everyone. I'm glad you all could make it, and thank you to our panelists. We did something similar to this last year. I think it was really helpful for people to hear about experiences on the mentoring committee, both from the mentor and mentee side. So this will be the 4th year for the CIRES Mentoring Program. It was started kind of to fill in a gap where there's a lot of mentoring opportunities for graduate students and postdocs and early career, but there wasn't really anything for, sort of that all career stages, mid-stage, even all the way up to senior scientists. So the CIRES Mentoring Program was kind of developed to fill that gap we do include postdocs and early career, but it's really for anyone in any career stage here at CIRES. So I can go ahead and share my screen and just show a few quick slides. The mentoring program, kind of in short, it's an 8-month program, one-on-one mentoring. It's designed to help build correct connections across both CIRES and NOAA, as well as within CIRES. CIRES is kind of spread across multiple different campuses. So this helps sort of build a sense of community between the different campuses as well. And to foster career development. So I like to use the example, when I was a mentee, I was going through the CIRES career track promotion process, and my mentor was super, super helpful through that process, helping me pick out what to highlight and how to sort of format my career track package. So really a great program, kind of whatever you're looking to do with your career in CIRES. As I mentioned, it's open to anyone. So regardless of your position within CIRES, whether you're an administrator, an engineer, or research scientist, we invite, because we have such a presence with NOAA, we invite federal employees to serve as mentors and at any career stage. And so this will run from October through May. So right now is day 2 of mentor registration, and then mentee registration will begin on the 19th. And I think we have it worked out now that we'll be getting reminders sent out, close to the mentor sign-up deadline and when mentee sign-up begins, so that it'll be fresh in people's minds. And then we're hoping to hold an in-person, as long as we stay in COVID level low, kind of community building, meet the committee, meet the participants event on October 6th, and we'll try to get that out and advertised ASAP. So want to learn more? You are in the right place. This is going to be a really good panel discussion featuring some past mentors and mentees. I mentioned I was previously a mentee, and I signed up this morning to be a mentor for this year. So looking forward to participating in the program again. Any other questions you have, or if you run into any technical problems when you go to register, you can send us an email at ciresmentoring@colorado.edu. Or you should have in your cluster a member of the mentoring committee. So Ryan Casado, Hazel Bain, Hillary Petticord, Bianca Baer, Courtney Peck, myself, Beck, and Sunil are all on the mentoring committee. So if you're in any of their clusters, you can feel free to reach out to them one-on-one as well. And so I will quit sharing my screen so we can hear from our panelists.
Just a quick question. If we had a mentor profile last year, can we see that and just update it, or
you should be able to just if you go to the mentoring website and go to log in, it should log in. It should still have your whole profile. You'll still need to click register for this year, but your profile should still be active.
Okay, great.
Yep. Thank you, Janice. For our panelists today, we're really delighted to have Bianca Bayer, who is a CIRES research scientist in the carbon cycle and greenhouse gas program in GML, who was a mentee in the program last year. It's Neil Bader, who is a CIRES research scientist in the chemical sciences lab, who was also a mentee in the program last year. Jimena Ugaz, apologies if I'm messing up your last names, folks. Member of our CIRES admin team. She works in human resources and she was a mentor in the program last year. And Andrea Ray, who's a federal employee who works in the director's office of the Earth System Research Lab at NOAA, who was a mentor last year. I know that this looks like the program is only available to scientists, and I want to acknowledge that we really did try to get a better representation across all of the different disciplines in our panelists today, but we certainly did have representation across all of the different disciplines, career stages, both on all the different campus locations and across all of our different groups in CIRES in the program. It was just a scheduling challenge to get everybody represented on the panel today. So I hope you feel welcome, whether you are a brand new employee or a long-time career person, whether you're in our admin groups or on main campus, or whether you're an engineer. The program is certainly not just designed for research scientists, even though we do have a little bit of a bias in our panelists today. With that, I'm going to invite Bianca to introduce herself and talk about her experiences.
All right, I guess I'll kick things off here. So like Beck mentioned, I'm a research scientist in NOAA's Global Monitoring Laboratory. I actually participated in the mentoring program 2 years ago, but I remember my experience so distinctly because it was great. And so I'm happy to share that with everyone today. And so I'm an early career scientist and was just kind of getting into being a new supervisor 2 years ago. So one of the main reasons why I got into the program was to, seek advice and learn more about how I can be a good supervisor as a first-time supervisor last year. And my mentor actually provided me with a lot of different resources. We talked through, we actually went through I actually went through part of the hiring process for my supervisee during that time period. And so my mentor had a lot of great advice on how to objectively evaluate folks, shared kind of grading rubrics with me, and then also shared a lot of different resources that CIRES has to offer that I just wasn't aware of as a person sitting at NOAA, that offered a lot of different sort of training opportunities and things like that for new supervisors or routine supervisors. So that was one big thing for me, and it was really helpful to kind of go through this process with a mentor who actually was very excited about helping out sort of early career scientists in jumping into the supervising stage. So that was really helpful. I was also seeking some mentorship on early career development and just, moving up the career ladder. So I did, that was also really helpful to kind of talk through with my mentor. And then also all of this was, of course, going on through the COVID sort of shutdown and then reopening phase. So it was nice to kind of just connect with someone once a month on how work is going, how telework is going, things like that. And so I guess during all of this, I learned about a lot of different resources available through.
Bianca, your mic cut out, I think. No.
There's always some technical challenges.
Can you guys hear me now?
We can, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I guess kind of wondering where that dropped off there.
Just a few sentences ago.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was just kind of wrapping up with, it was just nice to connect with someone who sits at CIRES, as a person who sits at NOAA. It kind of brought that CIRES cohesiveness a little bit more for me, and also provided me with some resources that I wasn't previously aware of. So just taking more advantage of CIRES as a whole. Sorry about the sound.
Not a problem. Thanks, Bianca.
Sure.
Sunil, would you like to share your experiences?
Hi, I'm Sunil Baidar. I'm a CIRES employee at NOAA CSL. I've been at CSL for 7 years. And the main reason I participated in the mentoring program as a mentee last year was to get advice in terms of career advancement. I was at a point where I was starting to ask questions like, what's next? What do I want to do? So I was seeking for advice from someone who probably has gone through a similar phase before. And Andrea, who is part of the panel here, was my mentor, and I learned a lot of things from her. Even like some of the things I still recall is how to politely say no. I have a big problem saying yes to everything. And I think that was a big problem for me. So I learned about that, and also about how to prioritize at work. And yeah, and also how to approach certain conversations with your supervisors and other people regarding your career. And one thing, I don't think I took a full advantage of the program. I think I was not very good at scheduling meetings with Andrea. I think I waited until the very last moment to schedule the meeting, and then I was like, oh, maybe I should do it next week, and then next week it's, so I feel like I missed some of the months. And if I were to do it again, I think I would schedule meetings ahead of time with your mentor. That would be my biggest advice to incoming mentees. Schedule your meetings ahead of time so that it's in there, then you can always move it around and trying to schedule the meeting at the last minute. Yeah.
Thanks, Sunil, and really great advice. I mean, everybody in our program and in CIRES is working really hard. So getting things on the calendar is a really solid piece of advice for mentees to take control of their own relationship with their mentors. Jimena, do you want to share your experiences?
Yes, absolutely. So I am a human resources professional. I've been at CIRES for 3 years, and I signed up to be a mentor because in my prior life, I was a professor of Latin American literature. And I always had this desire to help develop other people. And one of the biggest surprises was that I was lined up to mentor scientists, a research scientist 3. And at the beginning, I was a little bit intimidated. And then I realized that it really wasn't about the science. It was about the careers, and it was about inviting somebody else to do an auto-reflexive and reflective exercise on where you are, what are your interests, what are your strengths, and how can you leverage those strengths in order to support what your group is trying to achieve and what the organization is doing, right? Which is like the #1 mission ever in the world today. So we have to understand, depart from that understanding that is incredibly important work. And another great surprise was that at the beginning, I didn't know if I should sign up as a mentor or as a mentee. I really wanted to do both, but it was too much time. But then being a mentor, I really also was a mentee, because everything that I was researching and trying to advertise and advise and advocate for, I was thinking about that in my life and in my career. So really being a mentor, you will also be the mentee. and you will think about all of this. So I think it's, it's important, and I'm in HR, so thinking about my career comes a lot more naturally to me than to some other people, especially, very busy researchers or educators. And so I just want to also put in a plug for the next training at CIRES, which is going to be on September 21st. And I just, Beck, I just sent you the slide so you can give me some feedback. But it's all about thinking about our career and how to move forward. And that's going to be September 21st, 10 to 11. So you guarantee that you will learn something from every single time you meet with this other person, mentor or mentee. And another thing to keep in mind, another reason why to do this, is that all the organizations out there are looking for leadership skills. And if you participate as a mentor, that's, a more natural way to justify that you are serving in a leadership role. But after you do it also as a mentee, if you don't think you're ready to be a mentor, you will be ready to be a mentor next time around. And leadership skills are something that, is part of the definition of what a talent is. You have your functional skills, but then you have to have the ability to lead teams and to inspire others to evolve. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Thank you. And I totally second that piece about being a mentor and a mentee at the same time, because I think all of us learn so much from interacting with each other at all sorts of different career stages and across all sorts of different conversations. Thank you. Andrea, do you want to share your experiences?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrea Ray. I'm a scientist actually in the physical sciences lab. It's within Esrel, but I'm in the director's office of the physical sciences lab. And let's see, much of my career has been applications of science. And so often working with teams and working across disciplines and across organizations. Jimena, I completely echo that. I found that in being a mentor, I was asking myself the same questions and sometimes being surprised at the answers I came up with. I'm a little bit surprised, Sunil, maybe a little ironic that you said politely saying no and prioritizing, because I feel like those are things that I'm always working on. I also thought when looking at the suggested mentoring themes that it was kind of interesting that for the same month there was peer review and how to say no, because one of the things I find myself doing pretty regularly is like, is this a paper I really should be reviewing? And having been kind of an interdisciplinary person, my name pops up on things, I suppose, as matching for things that I really don't have. I was on the paper for maybe the climate or the natural hazards or some aspect of a paper, but I know nothing about what not as a person who would be a good reviewer for that. So I end up saying no, but it's also part of prioritizing. I guess one of the reasons why I wanted to do the mentoring as a federal person is, well, first, I've just had both formal and informal great mentors all through my career. So it's kind of a matter of pay it forward, pay it backward. And then I also think that at least there's probably an interest in some people in CIRES in understanding a bit more about how NOAA works, or the NOAA culture in this building, the NOAA culture in this building versus maybe the NOAA CIRES or CIRES culture over in some of the other places. So I'm hoping this year, and with some possible in-person events, that to be able to be one of the people that can answer questions about things that are going on at NOAA for the person I'm mentoring, if I match, or for other people. So, and let me think. It seems like there was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. But I'm around for questions. So, but it was really a great experience, and thank you, Sunil, for picking me, for being on this journey.
Thank you, Andrea. We have a small group here, so feel free to just unmute yourself and ask questions as you like to, or you can use the raise hand button Anyone got something burning that they want to launch into? I will start. Maybe for Andrea, when you signed up to be a mentor, how was that experience for the signing up and the matching process for you?
I don't remember that it was difficult to sign up. I think I had to stop, and that self-reflection thing, to stop and think. Writing the bio for that was not the same as writing a bio, say, for my web page on PSL. Thinking about what kinds of things that I might contribute, and what kinds of expertise I might bring in terms of things like those monthly themes. So it wasn't difficult, but it's a bit of self-reflection on how might I participate as a mentor, and what do I have to contribute. So that was an interesting. So, but I seem to recall it was a pretty simple matter to sign up. And do I recall there's a bio, and then there's several questions? Is that what it is? I haven't done it yet this year. There's several questions in a bio. Is that it, Beck?
Yeah, there's I just did it this morning, so it's fresh in my mind that there's you know, a quick sort of, you know, in the header it'll say, you know, what your position is, how long you've been at CIRES, or how long you've been in NOAA Fed, what your career experiences are. You know, it's almost like a resume to begin. So, you know, where did you do your education? Where have you worked? You know, if it was somewhere before CIRES, what's your mentoring style? What areas do you know, and there's like a drop down list of areas where you feel you could provide mentoring. And then, yeah, then the bio, which, yeah, was a little bit more thought provoking to write than a website bio for sure.
But as I recall, the bio isn't very long. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe there's up to 1,000 words, something like that.
Right. Yeah. We encourage people, because I believe the mentees also have room for a bio. Include whatever you want in that, right? So not just your science, not just your education or your background. Where'd you grow up? If you feel you want to share that, you know, did you move across country to come to CIRES? You know, if you want to share what you do in your spare time, you can feel free to share that. It's really, really open to whatever you want to share in your bio.
It's a little bit like a cover letter. Like, what is it you want to reveal that's maybe not in those stock questions, which are of course also important, and get some of the details out of the way.
Exactly.
Sunil or Bianca, do you want to comment on the process from a mentee's point of view?
I think it's very similar to the mentor registration. I think you have to fill out your bio, and then there's a drop down menu with like 6 or 7 topics that you want to be mentored on. I think you get to choose 3, and then after that you get matched to a mentor with a similar interest.
Yep, we certainly encourage you, if you're thinking about being a mentee in the program, to sign up sooner rather than later. It gives you the most chance of a match with the type of expertise that you're interested in matching with. We certainly had a lot of demand for the program in the last couple of years. We got questions from others who are in the room.
I have a question. This is Shilpi. So I was curious about some of the both mentoring and mentee roles that have happened for more engineering, computer science kind of things. Be curious to hear about those projects and roles.
Anybody want to comment on that?
I know we had some more engineering, computer science mentoring pairs last year. Unfortunately, no one on the panel is in that field. I could maybe look through the participants, Shilpi, and see if I can put you in touch maybe with someone if they'd be willing to chat.
Cool. Yeah, I would be curious about both mentor, mentee, some of the options and projects that were accomplished.
Yeah,
But
just
I
to
think-
clarify there that our mentoring program is really around career and personal growth rather than content of
Okay.
projects most of the time, unlike the mentoring relationship you might have with an advisor or in a research experience program.
Okay, that's a helpful clarification.
Well, and also there's not really a project. The mentor and the mentee might be talking about a project that a mentee is working on, but it's not like you create one. I mean, I suppose there might be a circumstance in which that comes out of it, but it's not really an intent.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
If you're interested in mentoring students, for instance, in a research project, I can connect with you offline, Shilpi.
Okay. Yeah, great.
We do have some opportunities for some of our programs here in CIRES. Other questions about the program?
Hi, my name is Lily. I have two questions actually. First question is, how often do you meet with your mentor? Like I know you mentioned something about in person on October 7th. That's just a generic one. And then the second one, in terms of all the panelists, how do you give advice in terms of different stages in career? For example, someone who wants to start a family compared to someone who's in their retirement ages, or I don't want to say twilight, but let's just say later on in their career path, and are looking for advice in terms of how to steer themselves and match that with what they want to do compared to where their career is.
So I can take the first one. So the program is designed, we encourage you to meet with your mentor or mentee once a month for about an hour. So the October 6th event is kind of a social event, a kickoff, that people can meet in person. But once the actual mentor-mentee pairs are put together, you can decide if you want to meet virtually, if you want to meet, in one of your office buildings, want to meet at a coffee shop. That we really leave that up to the individual mentor-mentee pairs. And then, we basically just recommend a monthly meeting. If you want to meet more than that, that's fine. Sometimes things get in the way and people meet less than that. That's also fine. It's really, we have recommendations, but it's really flexible for whatever the mentor-mentee pair wants to do.
Bianca.
Yeah, I'll just say that with like the meeting once a month and scheduling things, one thing that really helped for me was having like a standing first Tuesday or Wednesday, of every month sort of thing on the calendar. And then, we were flexible with that, but I think that really helped us to kind of both look forward to the once a month meeting and also, have something on the calendar.
I can comment a little bit on that question about stages in your career. It's really a conversation versus just one set of advice. And then also, I think as a mentor, I would say that I don't necessarily have all the answers for any of those. And part of the mentoring role is steering somebody to people, steering the mentee to who they might talk to, who might have either information that I don't have or alternate perspectives. So so that's kind of really the answer. It's more not an answer, but what the conversation is and what comes out of the conversation of what are you thinking about that? How do you think that's going to affect or change things? How do you think you might adjust what you're doing to accommodate that? Here's somebody who's gone down that pathway. You might go talk to them. Do you want me to introduce the two of you? That kind of thing. And that's probably true for a number of different kinds of questions in the mentoring role. You could say that that's the same kind of answers for work-life balances and adapting to changing professional priorities and a lot of other things. It's the conversation more than the answer.
That's
really
good that you
great
mentioned, Andrea, bringing in other people. One of the other members of the mentoring committee, she wasn't able to be here today, but she did say, you know, one of the great things about her mentee experience was that her mentor did the same thing. If they didn't know, you know, they would bring other people, even bring other people into the meetings that they had together to talk about different things. So bringing in outside or making that connection with other people and expanding the network is a really, really good benefit of the program as well.
Yeah, I don't recall that Sunil and I did that. I might have suggested some other people to talk to about something, but it's certainly been the case with other kinds of mentoring relationships I've been in. The mentor is the entree to a larger network and not the only one.
But I think just having conversation about different topics with your mentor, I think you get a different perspective of what you might be thinking versus what your mentor is thinking. And I think there's a lot to be learned just to have someone to talk to about outside of your immediate work group. I think that's one of the big advantages.
And as a mentee, we certainly encourage you to sort of take control of that conversation. If there's something that you're interested in talking about, just telling your mentor right up front, this is what I'd like to discuss today. Set an agenda for your meeting, or say that, you know, this is something I'm working through. Could we talk it out today? This is sort of the thing that this mentoring program is a little bit unique. It's really self-directed to a large degree so that you can get what you want out of the program. Other questions? I have a question, Jimena. When your mentees were arranging their meetings with you, what helped you to be successful as a mentor and meeting the needs of your mentee?
What helped me what?
To be successful and meeting the needs of your mentee.
I think that a lot of the times, like others have said, I researched some of the questions that he asked me because I hadn't thought about them at all. And then other times I directed him to talk to his supervisor. And I think, you know, for the specific case with my mentee, I think there was sometimes a little bit of, I don't think it was a communication struggle, but maybe they were not being proactive enough in asking, you know, the supervisors who they perceived as being extremely busy, but aren't we all, for some of the advice that they should be providing. And so that was also, because I'm in human resources, it was great to differentiate between like what a supervisor does and what a mentor does. And hopefully a supervisor is also a mentor, but that is not the case at all for everybody. There are different, you know, types of supervisors at CIRES. And so I think that was a good exercise for me to realize what was it that I could answer and I could answer correctly. And then what I needed to send, you know, the mentee to talk to a supervisor about. And we would even like go through the conversation of what are the types of questions that he would ask. And then sometimes it was just research. I have to say that the provided topics of conversation, I always thought that they were super encouraging. There was never, you know, a silent moment. They were really meaty. So I thought that was great in ensuring success.
Thank you. And for those of you who have wondered about that piece, the mentoring program, while they don't dictate what you're going to talk about, do provide some ideas of conversation starters each month, just in case that's helpful for you. So sometimes knowing what to ask is a little bit tricky for our mentors and our mentees. Bianca or Sunil, do either of you want to offer some advice on how you got the most out of the relationship?
Yeah, I can offer some advice on that. So one of the things that I was kind of looking for, this throughout the whole period was to see how I could kind of give back to my mentor during this process, and how I could, help them as well. And so one of the things, I took a lot of trainings as an early career scientist and as a new supervisor. So I also provided feedback as to which trainings were helpful to me, so that, the mentor could go back to their respective organization and recommend those resources to other people in a more helpful way. So I guess I was just kind of trying to make it more of a two-way street instead of always me asking for help.
I would say, again, schedule meeting ahead of time. I think that would make it easier for everyone, I think. And also, you don't have to stick to the topics provided. I think a lot of the interesting conversations we had was about just talking about things. I think not just following what was the topic of the day, but just talking about different things, what you're doing at work versus what you're doing at home and things like that. Just talking. And I guess being comfortable to talk to your mentor about anything you want.
Have we got questions?
I'll ask one. It may be a little bit of a selfish question since I'm chairing the committee, but we've mentioned that we send out the topic suggestions. We also have a lot of resources available on the CIRES Mentoring website. So for mentees or mentors, is there a topic that you think we should have suggested? Is there a resource that you wish we would have had? Is there something that we should look into adding for this year to, make the program even more successful? Is there something you wish that you had that wasn't there last year? I won't be hurt, I promise.
Well, I'll just mention this because it was something I didn't really realize until towards the end. Apparently, a lot of emails from the program coming over to NOAA, you may know about this, landed in a spam and then I actually went back. I think that box gets emptied every 30 days or probably once a week it clears out, but didn't even know. Even if I had looked at my spam, it wasn't in there. So some better way of communicating or figuring out what's going on with the spam. Because I was usually
we've talked to CIRES IT and it's on NOAA's side, and but it might be something that maybe instead of like a mailing list to, CIRES mentors mailing list, that maybe we can find a way to individually type in NOAA emails so that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I suppose maybe I could give you an alternate email.
Last chance for questions or any feedback for Janice about the program as a whole. Overall, we've been pretty excited about this program, not just for the mentoring content that we've got, but also for the sense of belonging that people gain from meeting people and interacting across our divisions and in different places. And hopefully it helps everybody who joins the program to feel more included and feel more part of CIRES. We're here as a resource for anybody who's involved in mentoring, the CIRES Mentoring Committee. We're all on email and happy to come chat through either for our mentors or for our mentees. And we try and provide as many useful resources as we can. We really encourage you to sign up.
Hey, I'll throw out just another suggestion is I think a lot of us are kind of craving meeting people in person. So I think the thing on the 6th is great. I'd love to know, so I don't schedule over it. I'd love to know what times you're thinking about sooner rather than later. And then maybe there's a way at some of the other series events of putting a colored sticker on people's name tags or something else that indicates I'm part of the mentoring program, so that we could talk to other people who are in the program or have them come up to us. Maybe there's something at the holiday party or some other events.
That's a great idea. We're meeting on Friday to plan the kickoff event, so we should have more details.
But you don't have a time yet?
I think we were thinking about 12 to 2:30 or 12:30 to 2 or something like that. It was kind of lunchish, but also getting people out of there in time for those that have kids to get their kids from school. So I think it was like a 12 to 2 or 12:30 to 2:30.
I have something in the morning, but I can be back for at least part of that.
Awesome.
Well, thank you all for your time for joining, and hopefully we see you at our kickoff event when you've signed up and become a mentor or a mentee this year. Thank you to all our panelists for great experience and for making the time to be here.